Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Bible. My name is Rogan, and you are watching The Mysterious Stoner in Ebola. Now, who, you might ask, am I to say if there is good or bad in the Bible? And if you're joining us for the first time, you probably don't know who I am. Odds are very high of that. Unless this is like in the far future that you're watching this and I'm famous and everyone knows my name and shit. Which I'm sure I'll get to eventually, but, takes time. That's perfectly fine. I got plenty of that. But, so who the fuck am I? That I can say if there's good or bad in the Bible. Well, I'm glad you asked, because I have an entire story about that, scattered over like 20 episodes. Because there's a lot to who I am and what I've been through. But in a nutshell, I used to be a Christian, not anymore. And I was a missionary kid. My dad went to seminary. He was a chaplain in the military of our home country that we were in, that we lived in. And, well, yeah, I took religion very seriously for a time. I was officially saved. Like, I believed it. I prayed the prayer. I believed it so much so that I even started learning how to witness to other people. I did door-to-door stuff. I didn't become a missionary myself, but I did a lot of the same shit. I volunteered for a lot of the same things that missionaries do. Like I said, I've done the door-to-door stuff. We weren't Mormons. We were just Christians. Very serious, very conservative, very sheltered Christians. And I was even homeschooled. Never went to public school. Didn't go to any kind of real classroom for my education until I was about 16 years old. And what was my main curriculum of being homeschooled? This. So, yeah, I know it kind of well. From the Christian side, and having since left Christianity, and I talk about that too, of course. It was hard for me to accept, because there are people out there who, of course, respect the Bible, but also others who say the Bible is complete shit and isn't good for anything. And I respectfully disagree with both opinions. I think there is both some good, but definitely bad in the Bible. And that is what this whole series is about. We're going through the entire Bible. And welcome if this is your first time. And, well, if you've seen the other videos already, I'm sorry you gotta go through this again. I'm trying to learn how to, say these things in different ways, relatively short. Sometimes I'm briefer, sometimes I'm not. I was late this last week, and I apologize for that. I was going through some shit, some home shit that I'm not really gonna share here, but it was very very difficult for me. I was going through a lot of stress. It was showing up even in physical form. It was bad. I had weed to help. Fortunately, I needed that a lot to help keep me calm, but everything went fine. Well, on my end, anyways, I managed to keep my cool and everything. But that's I may share that story someday. But as for now, I mean, that was only. I mean, as of when I'm filming this, it's not even a week ago, and I'm kind of sort of still recovering from it, so to speak. And of course I think I'll be celebrating St. Patrick's Day tonight. Although new shit has come to light regarding that since I left Christianity as well, and I've even come up with my own idea for what to call St. Patrick's Day instead of St. Patrick's Day. But that whole thing, I'm gonna save that for next year, because some information I've collected over the years, and I've had some realizations just today that has made St. Patrick's Day very special to me, but also makes me not really care for the name itself. Absolutely nothing against the Irish or anything like that. No, not at all. Not at all. It's St. Patrick himself. But I will have more complete information for sure by this time next year. And I will talk about it then. So that's something to subscribe to my channel for, and keep an eye out for this time next year. But now, enough rambling, enough talking about me and St. Patrick's Day and rabbit trailing. It's a habit I am trying to kick, that I do on here. I also swear, I smoke weed, I drink booze occasionally. I drank booze last week in celebration for St. Patrick's Day, and then I actually went out and drank on Saturday. That was a fun, no, Friday, yeah, because the shit happened on Saturday with the family. Yeah. So and I'm celebrating it again today. I won't get as intoxicated because I gotta get home. Fortunately, I'm very close to home to where I'm going to drink, and I'll be drinking again this weekend, celebrating with my sister. So yeah, I'm celebrating the fuck out of St. Patrick's Day this year. Like for real, the first time I've ever like really celebrated it. Anyways, fuck, I gotta stop rabbit trailing. Let's get to the Bible, because we have both negative but also positive stuff to talk about regarding the Bible and what it says. Of course, we started with the 10 Commandments because that's where this begins. This is in Exodus, chapter 22, where we're starting at today. But we went over some of the 10 Commandments, the pros and cons of those, you could say, and then we got into some laws about servants. We're going to talk some more about servitude today. And yeah, God really has a thing against servants, or he's very pro-class system, because of how low servants are treated here. I mean, first of all, there are slaves and servants being allowed. Oh yeah, and they even like they made it a point, like when a father decides to sell his daughter, this is how it should go down. Like there was no like thou shalt not sell thy children into servitude. Nothing like that. No, literally. But you have to watch the last episode, or just go to the chapter and read chapter 21 for yourself. You'll find it. It's there. But today we're talking about chapter 22, and there's usually not like there really hasn't been a whole lot of good things to say about the Bible so far, which is this. Well, it's not. I'm expected. I expect it at this point, because of how much of the Bible I came to memorize, how many times I heard the stories over and over and over again. I mean, my parents and I read this every single day. My dad pressured me to read the Bible as I got older, to like show that I was a serious Christian. And then I got into it and like actually started reading it for myself without him having to encourage me in his intimidating ways. But of course, because I was taught to believe hook, line, and sinker of everything, I was, You know, of course I believed everything in the Bible was right. Everything it said, like there was nothing wrong with slavery and servitude and the way God legalized rape. No, because it was in the Bible. Yeah, I said, yeah, you did not mishear me. There is a verse in the Bible. Oh, we'll get to it when we get to it. But there is a verse that treats rape a hell of a lot nicer, especially for guys, in the Bible than in local governments. The ones who, you know, handle rape justly, you know, like by sending the guy to fucking prison. That doesn't happen in the Bible, but, you know, we'll get there when we get there. Yeah, it's exciting for me going through the Bible and learning all this negative shit from a different light. But we are starting off with something positive today. A law about theft, which, well, let me just fucking read it to you. And this is the King James Version, the one I was raised on. It's not the most accurate. I've come to realize that, but because that is what I'm raised on, because that's what a lot of people really, really hold on to, like my parents. This is what we go with. The most popular old school version. So that's why it sounds a little funky sometimes. If a man steal an ox, first verse, if a man steal an ox or a sheep and kill it or sell it, he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep. And that's the end of that little bit of law. But I honestly think this is actually a pretty good idea. Like, it wouldn't hurt, I think, if this were, in fact, applied to the government law somehow. I think it would be really helpful to help people learn not to steal. So if a guy, you know, you steal something from Walmart, you get caught shoplifting, all right? Well, you gotta... And I think it shouldn't. Well, the killing or the selling, I mean, that's different, because now the animals are no good anymore. It actually doesn't say. Wait, it does say, of course. It says, if the theft be certainly found in his hand alive, no matter what kind of animal it is, it says the thief shall restore double. I should have highlighted that one too. That's a good one. Because if the animal gets damaged, you resupply in kind. So like if you steal something and it gets damaged or you sell it off, you gotta give back to the store 5 times what you stole, you know, if you got caught. But, you know, if you get caught with it, you only have to restore double. And even then, I mean, think about it. If you get caught stealing something, and not only do you have to give back what you stole, you have to give back what you stole, and then another thing just like it. You steal a pair of sunglasses, oh, now you got to dig into your pocket and not only return the stolen pair of sunglasses, you got to give them another pair that you either already have or, you know, you buy from someone else. Like, that seems like a pretty good idea to me. I feel like they should find a way to, you know, incorporate that. Maybe help cut down on some prison time. Like if they had to do that and serve, but maybe not serve as much, you know, depending on, you know, what they got to work off. And that concept is actually in here too. It says in the 3rd verse, it says, if he has nothing, then okay, this is a little not as nice sounding, but it says if he has nothing, so that the thief can't pay back what he stole, like he can't even do the double or whatever, like he doesn't have shit, he was stealing to get by. Sucks to be him. If he has nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft. Now this is where I would edit the idea here, because I think it's still a good idea for, like, okay, let's go back to the Walmart illustration. I mean, I live in the US, so that's kind of what we got to go with. But whatever your local store is, let's say you steal from them, and you know, because maybe you don't have a job, because of whatever bullshit reasons, because life's a bitch sometimes, or whatever. You have no way of being able to pay back 5 times the item or double the item of what you stole. So what they would do is they would turn you into a fucking servant or a slave. You get sold for the price of it doesn't go into as much detail about that. They probably already had some rules about slavery set up in general, about how they conducted their business, because God has some, but he doesn't have like all the details. Like, there is no complete code of conduct written. There's things put in there, there's things expected that are normal. One of the rules I was talking about regarding servants yesterday was that it's basically okay to beat servants according to God. That was part of the thing. Like, as long as they didn't die, or actually forgot to include yesterday, if they got seriously injured, then they could be set free. Like if they lost an eye or look it up for yourself. Do some of your own research. Don't make me do everything here. Yeah, so there were some exceptions to, like how extreme a servant could be beaten. But as long as they didn't die and they didn't get injured too badly, then they could be beaten to an inch of their life, basically. And God didn't have an issue with it. Go look it up. Chapter 21. It's all there. More towards the beginning. And, like kind of the first half. Maybe a little more. But back to the thieving. Oh, yeah. And this is a good one, too. And, I think this should always be a rule anywhere. If a thief be found breaking up, this is verse 2. I know, kind of a weird spot to put it, I guess, but there was a lot being said about it, and I'm not going over everything they have here, because that would take way too fucking long. I'm just dwelling on the best, or the portions that are most applicable, let's put it that way, or what other people would attempt to apply. Or that you could apply. I'd say that as well. But it says, if a thief be found breaking in and he gets hit, like in a fight, the owner wakes up, sees him, gets into a fucking fight with him, and kills him, basically, there shall be no blood shed for him. Meaning, you cross the threshold, you put your life on the line. If you die, nothing will be done for you. As far like you will have died justly. Which I am down for. 100%. 100% if it's your fucking property that you own and someone enters against your wishes, I think it should always be okay to fucking end them. I mean, especially if they're coming in to do harm or to steal. Like, this is my property. I mean, gun, knife, whatever, that is a very, very, very basic human right. I think that everyone should be able to access. Obviously, not everyone. Unfortunately, life isn't fair, so not everyone gets a chance to own property. But, you know, if you at least own a car and someone breaks into your car, you know, hey, if you got valuable shit in there, or especially like if you're like staying in your car, like I've slept in my car before while traveling. If someone broke in, they would obviously be wanting to do more than hurt me. Well, or steal from me. They probably want to hurt me too, so they could steal from me. And unless they're a serial killer and then they're like in it for more than that. But anyways, you know, I should have the fucking right to be able to kill if it's an invasion of my property. And, you know, whether it's on the inside of my fucking car or on my land. Or, you know, in my personal room that I rent. You know? That's like, it makes perfect fucking sense. So, you know, good for God for coming up with this one. Jehovah came up with a good idea. A basic human right everyone should have. Good for him. Sometimes he's not so generous. In fact, that's what we're going to talk about next. God can't go very long without saying something stupid. Coming up with something dumb. He just can't keep the good streak going. He says, if a man, verse 16, entices a maid, woos her, basically, that is not betrothed, that is not, like she's not promised to someone else to marry, because that was totally a thing and something God was cool with. Women being married off at very young ages, even. It says, so if a man woos a woman who is not promised off to another guy already, and they sleep together, and lie with her, as the way the Bible puts it, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. So this is saying, according to God, the Bible, verse 16, if you have sex before marriage, you should marry the person you have sex with. That's what it's saying. I used to believe that too. Like, very seriously. Ridiculously seriously. And, oh my gosh, the way Christians can come so close to crossing that line or trying to go around it, or a lot of them even say, fuck that rule. Literally. Oh, yeah. And neither of them really have a choice about it. He has to pay the dowry and shit. And then it says, and if her father utterly refuse to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins. I have no idea what the fuck that means. I have no idea how much money that is. And I don't know why it matters. Well, maybe it's assumed that she was already a virgin. But what's the difference, I wonder, if she wasn't a virgin? Like, would they still have to pay for, Like, would they still have to pay the virgin fee? I really don't know. And then God just changes gears entirely for one verse. And then he goes back to the sex. But this one verse, he just, like, sticks in there. It kind of doesn't feel like it fits with the way the thought is going here with these verses, you know, talking about sex and stuff. I mean, the next, oh fuck it, I'll go ahead and tell you the next verse. It says, whoever, well, it's verse 19, I'll summarize for you. Whoever sleeps with an animal should be killed, basically. Like, has sex with, like, bestiality is punishable by death, according to God. I feel like that's a little harsh. Like, I'm not trying to say that it's normal or any kind of natural or necessarily for, well, that's a real bestiality is a weird subject. Because I am not for it, and I don't understand why other people would be. I think it's kind of gross. You know what? Fuck. If I get into this, I'm gonna have to make a whole nother video. Oh, boy, that's gonna be embarrassing to talk about. Because like I said, I'm not into it. It's just there's some things people are ready to talk about and some things most people are not. And that is one thing that I think most people are not ready to think or talk about, because honestly, I don't enjoy thinking or talking about it myself. But, like I was saying, overkill for killing it. Like, come on, if you're going to make a punishment out of it, which is totally understandable, for the animal's sake, totally understandable that it should be punishable, because I do believe in animal rights as well. To a degree, I'm not a vegan or vegetarian. I eat meat, hail bacon. But death? Like, come on. What if the animal dies in the process from the fucking? Like, that would make... Fuck, what am I talking? Why am I even talking about it? Right, because of the overkill. Right. Like, I'm not even... Yeah. I fucking hate this subject. Life for a life. Let's put it that way. Because I'm aware of such things have occurred, and I can totally understand that being a fair punishment. In fact, that would actually be, yeah, fuck. Because I mean, really, you shouldn't have been doing that in the first place. You know that fucking animal was tortured to death if it fucking died from it. Like, damn. Definitely a life for a life. In that case, wow, I actually agreed with this one to a degree. To a degree. Well, I'm not going to talk about where I wouldn't agree, because, I mean, anyways, fuck. I wasn't planning on talking about bestiality for so long. But, as you can see, you know, sex is a very big deal to God. So he's talking rules about sleeping with a woman who isn't married. If you have sex before marriage, you should get married, he's saying. And, you know, if the father... Oh, yeah. Yeah, no fucks given about if the husband... Or husband. If the guy and the woman maybe they actually want to get married. So, but if a father says no, you can't marry him even though he fucked you, he's allowed to keep her from doing that and make the guy pay the dowry of virgins, however much money that is. Probably a lot. Because they take fines kind of seriously here, like even with money. So yeah, there's that. No consideration if they actually want to be together or not. Maybe they just wanted to fuck as friends. Maybe they were fuck buddies, and now the law forces them to get married, and then that ruins everything. Who knows? That shit happens. Sometimes friendships work better than those close, intimate relationships. But I mean, that's not the point of why I'm even talking about this. The point is, it's a stupid fucking rule. They should have to do that. Like, it's some sort of like, oh no, so-and-so slept with so-and-so? Well, I guess they're getting married now. It's the fucking law because God says so. That's just stupid. It really is. Like, if they're old enough of legal age to be doing that, then, like, they're old enough to make their own decisions and live their own lives. Why you gotta try and run it for them, huh? Especially the women. Like I said, God is sexist. He's a sexist motherfucker. But this verse that gets just shoved in here right in the middle. Don't get married before, or no, get married if you have sex before marriage. The father can keep the wedding from happening. Kill every witch. Kill anyone who sleeps with an animal. Wait, what? Rewind time. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. What? God just all of a sudden says, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. That means you kill every fucking witch you come across. That's what he says. Right here, verse 19. And I'm a little bit suspicious that whoever picked and chose what books were put into the Bible and edited them, because that did happen, I wonder if they added this in there. Because it really doesn't fit. It fits the killing. God loves to kill. He loves to tell people to kill other people. He just enjoys bloodshed in general. Like, fuck, he flooded the whole world. Even the animals that didn't do anything wrong. He didn't give a fuck. He just loves death that much. So, of course, that's in his nature. That makes sense here. But, I mean, whoever commits bestiality is to be killed. Okay, at least that is still related to sex. With the verses that came before it. Witches don't have shit to do here. And there is nothing said as to why God wants every witch killed. Why would he want that? What does he have against witches? He said he gives no information about them. He doesn't say why they're bad. He doesn't say if they have real power or not. He doesn't. He doesn't acknowledge if they're capable of doing things that are outside of his will or against him. He just says, kill them all. What do we know of witches? The real ones. This isn't going to be an education video about what real witches are. Because they're not the ones that fly on broomsticks, have green skin, and own a bunch of flying monkeys. Alright? Talking about the real ones out there. The pagans. The ones that pray to the old gods. Who, like, super appreciate nature. Who believe in, you know, live and let live. Karma. They believe in karma. That's one of the huge things. Do no harm. Take no shit. They're not like the ones of today. They're not bad. Not bad people. I've met a lot of them. The vast majority of them are really nice. There's all different kinds of varieties. But there aren't, like, the ratio of good to bad of witches is actually very in favor of the good. They believe in being kind to each other. The golden rule that Jesus came up with. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. They believe that same shit. Most of them. Even if they're in Wicca or whatever. Shit, that's part of what Wicca is. I'm not Wiccan myself. I've looked into shit, okay? When I got out of Christianity, I did some checking out of the shit that God didn't like. Witches, witchcraft, magic, the supernatural. I looked into that. And there's even a story later on where the power of witches is actually acknowledged in the Bible. Just one story. It doesn't say how powerful the witch is or anything like that. Save that for another time. And the witch doesn't. I think the witch actually survives. I can't remember for sure. Her survival is promised. We'll put it that way. But God just really has it out for witches. You know, I wonder if he really did, or maybe it was the Catholic Church when they put the Bible together and edited it and translated it into English before giving it to the people. Like, oh yeah, you know what? We've been really hard on witches and shit. We should probably put somewhere in the Bible that God hates witches. Let's put it in Exodus 22. Doesn't matter where. And just find a verse and shove it in. No one reads all those fucking rules anyways. No one uses them anymore. So they won't notice, but we'll be able to reference it from the pulpit. And who knows? Maybe we'll have witch trials and get to burn them in masses if we can get people to believe and read this bullshit. And lo and behold, they fucking did. And then some. They've been giving witches a real hard time. Like, and witches didn't do anything to them. And you know, it's funny. Well, it's not funny. But, you know, Christians, Catholicism have been known for their witch hunts and shit. And then they tell people to say that, like, they get offended if people don't say Merry Christmas. Even though that holiday, as well as Easter, and a lot of Christian traditions were all taken from people who prayed to the old gods. From people who practiced things like witchcraft and magic. it doesn't make Christianity and Catholicism look very good, to be honest. I'm not saying that's what they're all like today, but everything's got a dark side. Especially the ones who pretend to be the brightest. In case it's not clear, I'm 100% against this commandment of God. I say no, sir. We leave them alone. And then God goes on to say, he that sacrificeth unto any god, save unto the Lord only, as in Jehovah. Anyone who sacrifices to any other god, except for Yahweh, should be utterly destroyed. Like, that's kind of a heavy way of saying to kill him. Like, put to death, not suffer a witch to live, utterly destroyed. I dare say Yahweh needs a motherfucking Snickers bar. Because he likes to kill people when he's angry. And this is absolutely selfish of him. Well, now, because, I mean, not everyone's gonna believe the same thing. He literally wants everyone else to be killed who doesn't worship him. That is what he's sacrifice unto any god, save unto the Lord only, he shall be utterly destroyed. That's a fucking death threat to anyone who believes a different religion. How is that not manipulative and controlling and tyrannical? That's like saying if you're not American, you shouldn't live. Which, of course, I don't fucking believe that. I think that's stupid. There are people that are that dumb. Fortunately, that's a very low end of the spectrum. But I mean, this is religion here. This is God. Oh, you don't worship my God? I ought to fucking kill you, motherfucker. Like, what? That's way out. That's horrible. That should be punishable by death. If you force other people at gunpoint or by death, or by threatening them, if you threaten other people into joining your religion, that should be illegal. That should be punishable by death. No one should ever be forced into what they should or should not believe. It's every human's right to believe what they want to, even if it is stupid. But it's not all right to go and force other people to believe as we do. Whether if it's with guns or swords or with our words, guilt-tripping them, trying to make them feel like shit. Being a fucking missionary should be illegal. Sure, you can go visit other places. You can talk about what you believe. That's fine. You can believe whatever the fuck you want. But don't kill other people over it. That should be illegal. That should be punishable by death. Brainwashing people into believing it. That should be a fucking crime. Intolerance to the point of death. for just believing differently. If your beliefs aren't hurting anyone, you should be allowed to believe whatever you want to believe. Yes, obviously that means there's a line. That means you can't believe that it's okay to just go out and randomly shoot people like you can in Grand Theft Auto or some shit. Yeah, there's a fucking line. Freedom doesn't come without boundaries. Nothing comes without boundaries. Oh, but then comes the next verse, which is very unusually tolerant, because it says, "Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him." Vex as in like piss him off, irritate him. "Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt." So let me get this straight. I mean, I don't know how the Egyptians treated the Israelites regarding worshiping their gods, because nowhere does it say that the Israelites were forced to worship the Egyptian gods, and nowhere does it say that the Egyptians treated Israel like shit for worshiping different gods. They treated them like shit because they were slaves, and that was a thing back then, which fortunately is over. But so if the Egyptians weren't killing the Israelites for believing in a different god, but Yahweh says anyone who sacrifices to a different god should be utterly destroyed, which gods sound more, or which religion sounds a little bit nicer? The Egyptians actually sound kind of tolerant here. Oh my, the bad guys of this, well, of their history, basically, have a good side to them that the God of the Bible doesn't. Well, how do you like that? But then why is God saying you shouldn't piss off any strangers in your land or oppress them? Well, hold on. What if the stranger is a witch? What if the stranger somehow has a very good relationship with their goat or donkey or I don't dog, like that good, like even the animal doesn't seem bothered by it, like it's weird as shit, but you know, this is a stranger. You don't think like us, you don't act like us, just a stranger coming through the land. What if the stranger, what if it's two strangers, a man and a woman, and they're having sex, but they're not married? And she's not his slave or anything. Well, what then? You're going to kill the witch that's just passing through? You're going to kill this person who has a very close relationship with their pet, and the pet doesn't seem to have an issue with it, and they're just doing their own thing, and they're passing through and by. You're going to kill them? Like, oh, what if it's like none of that? What if this stranger passing through believes in oh, let's say, we'll say Odin. A lot of people these days know who that guy is. Okay, he would not have fit in back then, but let's just say random person walking through. It doesn't really matter what. It's just a different god, and they sacrifice to a different god, a complete stranger, walking through the land of Israel, minding his own business, sees a nice little spot that doesn't belong to anyone, and makes a sacrifice to Odin or some other god other than Jehovah. Stranger passing through. We're going to kill them too. Come on. Make up your damn mind, God. You gonna kill him? Or you gonna let him walk through? Huh? Utterly destroy? Let go through? This is contradictory. Or you actually are gonna vex and oppress people coming through. If you see a stranger like, oh, you're a witch. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't care if it's normal where you come from. Our God says you gotta die, and you're walking through our land. Nope. But your law says don't vex or oppress strangers. Hey, I'm sorry, but the law also says we gotta kill all witches. So, sorry. Oh, shit. Oh, that guy just sacrificed to a different god. That totally wasn't Yahweh. You see what he was doing? That was like nothing all priests do or anything. In fact, only all priests should have been doing that kind of shit. Someone arrest him. Get that man killed. Yeah, like. No, you are either oppressing and killing people, or you're letting them by. And you're being tolerant. Like, pick one. Damn it. It's fucking stupid. And then God goes on for another good idea. It's like, okay, I should say, the commandment of thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him. That's a good one. You should be tolerant of other people. You shouldn't kill other people for believing differently than you, or sacrificing to a different god, or being a fucking witch, or having sex before marriage, or... I'm not going to talk about that other stuff. Because I'm done with that subject. But yes, you should be understanding and tolerant of other people. You need to be more open-minded. At the very least, just live and let live. If they are clearly not doing harm, let them be. Don't be a dick. You open your mouth, you don't know shit. You know some shit, but you don't know shit. You'll always be learning shit. You'll always be learning things that you thought were true that you found out weren't. Especially if you keep following this channel in regards to the Bible. It's crazy what people believe, but, you know, when you're raised to not question and not think for yourself, you'll believe anything. Right. The other good one. Shit, we got two more good ones. I had more in here than I thought I did. But I'm going to run through these last few as very quickly as I can. He says, ye shall not afflict any widow or fatherless child. So that's great. In fact, God makes, well, he makes some claims about getting really pissed off if anyone messes with widows and orphans, but given how many there are, and given how many end up in poverty or have very poor lives as a result, he sure is not doing a good job at keeping up with them all. Unless he's just all focused on the revenge part. Because he says, if thou afflict them in any wise, and they cry at all unto me, I will surely hear their cry, and my wrath will wax hot, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless. So, whoa. God has a thing for widows and orphans. Okay, who knew? Because he's a weird guy. Taking all this stuff into account. And then, so okay, yeah, great. Don't make it a rule against being mean to widows and orphans. Great. I can work with that. No issue with that whatsoever. Yeah. In fact, you could even add some rules, God, to where there's a way that they could be helped, given some advantages in society or something. I don't know. Give those orphans a trade to teach them, even if it is just being a shepherd or something. That way they don't have to be slaves or servants. I don't know. But, maybe I'm just asking too much of God here. Maybe I should just be grateful that God doesn't want to kill them himself. Sounds to me more like he's just looking for an excuse to get violent and to kill women and children himself. Because he does a lot of that already. And there's so much more to come. But we'll give it to his credit that he cares. We'll just say for the sake that, whatever. Nah, fuck him. Good idea. Don't oppress the women and children. Especially the widows and fatherless. And then his next commandment, if you lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as a usurer, neither shalt thou lay upon him usury. Basically what that is saying is, you should never tax, or no, not tax, you should never charge interest. That's the word I was looking for. Interest. You should never charge, like if you lend money to basically another Israelite, I guess is what he's saying. He's not saying if that includes converts or not. So who knows? But there is another law where God makes it clear that it's okay to lend, that it's okay to charge interest if you lend money to Gentiles, but that you should not charge interest, like it says here, to fellow Israelites, or the way he's saying it, to any of my people. Okay. So that, I guess that's nice. This isn't the portion where it talks about the Gentiles. I will try to find that verse and throw that up on here. So you can go look for it yourself. Because that is a thing. There's a very clear distinction between Gentiles and the Israelites with that. Shouldn't be too difficult to find. But yeah, but like not like really, I don't think, I mean, if they're a good friend of yours, like why, well, like, I don't know if it should apply to banks. Because I'm not a bank accountant. I don't know that kind of shit. Math was not one of my, like, not horrible at it, but it just was not at all my favorite subject growing up. So, but like, yeah, you shouldn't charge interest from other people. That seems like a courteous thing to do. But I mean, it's your money. And, if you want to get the law involved, maybe there's a way to charge interest to someone you lend money to. I don't know. But I think especially if they're your friend, like, don't be a dick. You shouldn't be. Like, there's really no reason to be a dick and charge interest at all. I don't know if there's really a good reason for banks and credit card companies to do it. I would like to think that in a perfect world, we wouldn't even need money. Not in a, to be clear, not in a communist fashion sense at all. No. I haven't thought about it super thoroughly, okay? But that's not to say I haven't thought about it. Perfect world, that is. I know communism doesn't work. Don't get on to me about that, okay? We're not here to talk about that. Thou shalt not revile the gods, nor curse the ruler of thy people. That seems like... Well, okay. It says, thou shalt not revile the gods. I'm pretty sure there was some kind of translation error here. Pretty sure. Because of the way God likes to talk about other gods. That this probably means like the rulers over the other rulers, maybe lesser rulers, or maybe kings, I don't know. But officials, government officials, I mean, treat them with respect. Yeah, that's whatever is worthy of their station. I have a hard time respecting the station itself, especially if I know there are flaws, like, ingrained into it, over years. Like, sure, I respect the power that's there. The power that will screw me over if I don't respect it. But, like, that's kind of where it stops. And if there's any more respect going into it, then it should be based on the individual who is in that station, in my opinion. Like, if you're a good cop, yeah, you get some respect for being a cop, but you get even more if you're a good cop. If you're a bad, corrupt cop, then you to the fucking bottom of the barrel with you. But, like, cops in general, yes, I respect them, and I hold nothing against them because it's their job to serve and to protect. Do they always serve and protect? No. I don't respect the ones that don't. I respect the ones that do. I don't know them all, so I gotta be skeptical around cops in general because I know there are bad ones out there, and that scares me a little bit. That, someone who is supposed to protect and serve me might not really have that as their top priority in their job, even though it should be. So I might have to look out for myself if I get pulled over by a bad cop. Maybe. I hope not. That's just an example, but, it can go all the way up to the leader of the country. And I feel the same way about that. Should I go out of my way to, like, talk shit about them? I mean, making jokes is one thing, but, like, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't the biggest fan of Trump, but I did not go out of my way to continuously talk shit about him and say how terrible he was or anything of that nature. That's not who I am as a person. Plus, I want to be able to say things that I know are true and certain. And there's a lot of information out there that gets tossed around that isn't true. But, so it's a 50-50 on this rule for me. Like, yes, respect the station, respect the power that comes with it and what it's capable of doing. But if the leaders themselves are not worthy of respect, then and they are bad, then they should absolutely be removed. If that is what everyone or the majority of the, people agree on. It's just that simple. And there's no reason to complicate it. We don't have to be assholes about it the whole time. We don't even have to be assholes to the assholes. Sometimes that's how you teach an asshole to stop being an asshole. A lot of times fighting asshole with asshole, I mean, you're just going to end up with shit everywhere. And then the last thing I want to touch on, and then we're going to close this video out. The very end, it says, "Thou shalt not delay to offer the first of thy ripe fruits and of thy liquors." I don't know if that actually means booze or not, but I think it's funny that they used that. It might not, and I'm sure my parents would love to think that it means something completely different, because, of course, we were conservative as fuck. This is way worse than booze to them. Or was. Anyways. And then so God is saying, give me the first fruits of your food, of your liquids, I guess. That I don't know if everyone pressed their own wine. Like, in this day and age, would that be like your first cup of coffee of the month or something? I'm not completely sure how he's divvying this up, or what liquors he's referring to, but some form of sacrifice, the first of everything, basically. And then he even says, "The firstborn of thy sons shalt thou give unto me." God wants the first of everything. Why? Does he not own the world and everything in it? Does he not claim to give us the very air we breathe and all that? So, like, he claims to have made mankind, which I very much doubt. In fact, I don't believe it at all anymore. But if he made all of this, why does he have to ask for the first of everything? Why? What good is it going to do him? You just want to commit, like, what? And then, it said, what are the men going to do? Well, it says, "And ye shall be holy men unto me. Neither shall ye eat any flesh that is torn of beasts in the field. Ye shall," that's pretty much it there. There's nothing really said as to what these holy men do, other than not eat from an animal that's been killed by another animal. Health reasons, that makes sense, but like, God doesn't really know jack shit about health. Maybe a tiny bit. Maybe there is a little bit of some, but, like, overkill on what they go through. But why the first of everything? Why can't God pick and choose the sons or daughters he wants? Like what? And what? Yeah. What if it? And what? It specifically firstborn of thy sons. So if it's a daughter, no, thank you. Men only. Yeah. Well, that's sexist. I told you he was a sexist guy. He only wants the men. Don't ask me why. Ask him. If you think he's real. But the first of everything. What is God going to do with the food? What is God going to do with the liquor? What is God like? Is that maybe it would make sense if that was like all going to feed the priests. In fact, I think actually some of that does. Now that I think about it. So there is some sense to that. But then like the firstborn of thy sons, like what? Is he going to put them in the military? Is he going to, he says they're going to be holy men. So are they going to be priests? Are they all going to be priests? I mean, that's a lot of guys. Huh. That's one way to make sure the higher-ups in your cult keep on thriving. Cult move. Demanding the first of everything, including children. But only the men. Men's only club. Is there going to be holy men? Very rarely do you ever hear about holy women in the Bible, or women doing anything. There are some things. There are a couple, at least 2, 3 or 4, a few. God is really not into women doing stuff. He really treats them like shit and like lower class than men. It's terrible. But that is it. That is how God that is how this chapter ends, anyways. With God wrapping up with, oh, by the way, give me the first of everything you get. What about the poor people who can't, like, they really need that first fruits and such? What if, father and, it's just a couple, and, like, what if it's, like, an older couple, and it's, like, they only have one son, it's the only son they ever had, and they need him to help take care of the farm, or hunt, or whatever, to help keep them alive. They are all he's got. God's gonna show up and, like, whoop, mine. If that's what God wants, God knows best. God's ways are higher than our ways. Should really learn to question. Because let me tell you, the more you learn to question God and the Bible, oh boy, so many things in here don't make any damn sense. The more you read this book, the more you realize this really should not be a textbook to learn from. If anything, it should be a test book to see how well your common sense works. Because there's so many red flags in here. So much poor treatment of humans. By God, commanded by God, very unfair, even brainwashes people. It's fucking terrible. Very intolerant. Very intolerant of how other people believe. and seemingly afraid of witches. A lot of people think that there's nothing to witches, that there's nothing to the magic they talk about. A lot of Christians will tell you that it's demonic and that it's evil. And they are partly the reason why, well, they and Catholics and everything, they are very much responsible for making witches and witch doctors and such and wizards look bad. They are why a lot of people shy away from them and get all nervous and everything. Because thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. And there was a time when that was literally applied. Even if it wasn't, even if it never happened in Israel. I mean, I have a feeling that some of the stories in here are based on historical events, so witch hunts have been happening for a very long time. People who are just different. People who are, for the most part, trying to help other people out and keep to themselves. They were known for helping a lot of people out in the local villages and such. They were very, very important. And there was a reason why they were very important. And there is a reason why Jehovah is afraid of them. Afraid of them enough to where he doesn't kill witches himself. He tells other people to kill witches. He can't stand them. So, of course, Christians and Catholics often can't stand them. Because their God told them to. They're afraid. Because their God is afraid. Because their God is straight up weaker. I hope you have found this video interesting and enjoyable and informative. I hope you will question more. Think for yourself more. I hope you'll challenge God. You don't have to do it like I did. I talk about that in my other videos, which you will have to go watch. And you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Stay safe. Don't get the COVID. Wear a mask if that's where you are is telling you to do. You'll be fine. Stay safe, my friends. And until next time, click like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't. Until next time, my friends, farewell.